In this video, we're going to look at what's called the homeostasis or regulation of blood glucose levels and the effect that adrenaline has on this. So, blood glucose regulation. In the previous lesson, we talked about the effect that high blood sugar can have on the endothelial cells, causing them to take in too much sugar and causing them to be damaged, hemorrhaging, and causing peripheral vascular disease. From National 5, we've actually discussed everything that is in this part of the course. We've discussed the homeostatic control of blood glucose level. We know that the cells in the pancreas, these are called the islets of Langerhans's alpha and beta cells. Doesn't matter, none of that. So cells in the pancreas monitor your blood glucose levels. The pancreas can make two hormones. Now, so it can raise your blood glucose level or it can lower your blood glucose level. So if you have a really sugary drink, let's say a Lucozade that's full of sugar, your body will, your pancreas will notice that the blood sugar level has raised. What will happen is it will release insulin. Now, insulin is very important in the body. What it does is it activates the conversion of glucose to glycogen in the liver. So it allows glucose into the liver and then it converts it to glycogen. Glucose dissolves in water. If you get a big glass of water, put glucose powder in it and stir it, it will dissolve. If you were to do that to glycogen, it would form big clumps. That's the point, basically, of making glycogen. If you put glucose in the liver's full of water, your blood supply to your liver is full of water, the glucose will just dissolve into your fluid in your liver and go right out through the cell wall, cell membrane. So it's a bit pointless putting it in the liver. However, if you put glucose into the liver and then convert it into glycogen, the glycogen does not dissolve in the liquid in your liver, so cannot leave. It's just a cute little system. You turn something that's water soluble into something that's not water soluble, so it stays where it is. In the other way around, if you, let's say you've had your meal, but then you go for a long bike ride or run, your blood glucose levels will drop as your body uses the sugar in glycolysis and then into, obviously, citric acid cycle and electron transfer chain. So your sugar levels will drop and you will become hypoglycemic. So your blood sugar levels will be low. What will then happen is your pancreas will recognize this and it will increase the secretion of glucagon. So when the glucose is gone, produce glucagon. When you want to put sugar in to your liver, produce insulin. So what glucagon does is it tells your liver to convert the glycogen back into glucose, and then that glucose is water soluble, goes back into the blood, and your glucose levels in your blood will rise. So it's just a diagram. Too much glucose, pancreas makes insulin, glucose to glycogen, blood glucose levels therefore restored. So pancreas secretes more insulin if there's high blood glucose level. The insulin increases the permeability of cells to glucose. They take in more glucose for fuel. The insulin also travels to the liver, where high insulin levels also make the liver cells more permeable to glucose, glucose to glycogen, and then blood glucose levels drop. Just going through it again, decrease in blood glucose. I thought it was important to have the slides, even though I've already said this, so you can pause it and take notes. So glucagon released by the pancreas stimulates the conversion of glycogen back to glucose. The glucose levels in the blood will return to normal. So this is showing insulin not produced, glucagon produced, etc., etc. The last little bit that's not in the course, again, I will read out the SQA you need to know, and then we'll go through the slide. During exercise and flight or fight responses, glucose concentrations in the blood are raised by adrenaline, released from the adrenal glands, stimulating glucagon secretion and inhibiting insulin secretion. So if you remember that glucose concentrations will be increased by adrenaline, you probably already know that adrenaline is released when you get all panicky, like flight or fight. So if you want glucose levels in the blood to go up, you would need to, logically from what we've just discussed, produce glucagon and inhibit insulin secretion. So again, I'm going to go through the slides so you can copy if you want. This is just what I've said. So glucagon up, insulin down. Again, this is just going through some of the extra stuff. Americans call adrenaline epinephrine. That's why you get EpiPens. They have epinephrine, adrenaline in them. But there's other manufacturers that make AddiPens that have adrenaline in them, which is also the same thing. just different mechanism of the springs. So adrenaline inhibits insulin secretion and ups glucagon secretion. In the next video, we will talk about type 1 and type 2 diabetes. I'm trying to keep these videos reasonably concise. So